Of the presentation is I'll tell you a little bit about Recall Corporation because I'm sure a lot of you don't know what Recall does, so it's just more informational. But I want to move into the part now of the business versus the CIO or versus IT, because this is a key point now that's within probably the last 10 years that has been very critical for IT leaders to get the value. I also use the word respect and credibility that we deserve. And the reason why I say that is I've been in IT a long time. Probably 8 or 9 years ago, you know the only time that I get called? I'm in my office. The only time I get called? Hey Jason, email's down. Not one person calls to thank us. We're always that supporting arm. And I'm going to show you some statistics to show you how you can change that and what the business thinks about us and what we can do, in order to change that. I still think we have a long way to go. One thing happened overnight is I can guarantee you in every company, the biggest expenses besides headcount or people is IT. And I know that for Pepsi, for Xerox, for Recall, Dan & Yogurt, and all the others. So people are kind of jealous, and it frustrates them that you have so much money. And so they look at it, if I'm giving you so much money, you should be able to give me the world. I have a slide or two on innovation, because this is a key point that I do want to stress, and then we'll go to Q&A. So let's talk about Recall. We have 3 products. We manage documents, whether it's paper, and we convert the paper to digital. So the reason I wanted to put this up here is everybody said to me, Jason, why are you going to Recall? This is 4 years ago. You've led companies, 20 billion, 8 billion. You're going to a $1 billion a year company. What is your drive? I'm at that point in my career where I want to give back. I didn't take Recall as the CIO because it was a step up or a promotion, but for my career path, it was to say, what else can I do besides being the Chief Information Officer? And I knew they wanted to start to go to digital. What better person to lead the digital organization than someone who understands technology? And I took a risk, and I was fortunate that I am now heading that up. We also do secure destruction, so we destroy whether it's paper, electronic media, disk drives, and then the last is data protection. If you take a look at any data center, disaster recovery, backup tapes, rotational, storing them off-site, that's what our company does. Many, many value propositions for it. I'm not going to review it. This is not about me marketing Recall, but I just want to tell you that we are actually sustaining our environment as well. We do want to convert paper to digital. We want to make sure we're recycling the paper and making sure that we're securing all of our customers' information. We are a global country, a global organization, just so you know, so that's why I understand that there are different cultures out there. And again, going back to the earlier question, you'll have to understand the U.S. culture if you're working for a U.S. organization. We have over 300 facilities, 23 countries around the world. That is also a challenge, but it's an advantage to folks in this room. Go to companies that are international companies. We need to make sure that we have the experiences for those countries and that culture. I can tell you, if you've ever heard the term BRIC, the investment in the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China. Excuse me. China is one of the BRICS. That means U.S. companies are going to want to invest there. The other thing too is, which might be a benefit if, and I know that you probably have roots here, or should I say you have family here, if you're willing to go and do a rotational job in China for maybe a year or two, that's another way to break into a company. So I don't know how mobile you are. You all have families here possibly. You probably have families in China, but that's another way to help you to career path. So when you're Googling companies, look for companies that, or reading those articles I was telling you about, look for companies that says, we're going to do a big investment in the BRIC countries and in India and in China. As soon as you hear that marketing your brand, culturally background, they're Chinese, you understand the culture, you are Coca-Cola, I understand the market in China, you want to deliver Coca-Cola to China, I can help you develop systems. The digital information, I put this slide in because I think it's important. The reason why it's important, if you understand that things are going digital, and this is what I'm saying, expand your skill sets, I would probably start to ask you to look into digital. The medical, financial profession, everything is going digital. And I can tell you, if you want to know that you want to stake an IT career on something, this is it. The paper, while it probably won't go away, it is actually decreasing and digital data is increasing. Today it's unstructured. That's what it's saying. People can't find data. I don't know if anybody has an internal corporation and they have all the documents stored on it. I can almost guarantee you, you won't be able to do any indexing on all those documents. I came on board to Recall, I said, give me the IT strategy from the last 10 years. Well, it's somewhere on a share drive. Not sure, Jason. And we spent probably 3 weeks looking for it and couldn't find it. This will be the hottest market in the next 5 years. And if you understand an industry vertical, like healthcare, finance, legal, and you understand compliance, this will be a good future. So that's what we do. Like I said, I didn't want it to be a marketing slide. I could have done a whole bunch more, but at least you understand why I went there and where I believe that the focus of IT will go. So let's talk about business in the IT. You know, how do we work together? Did you ever see these quotes? And this was actually done by IBM in 2009. So I bet you, if you ask any of the business side, how's IT doing internally? How are we? Are we good? Are we not good? And these are always the complaints. IT is not delivering. They don't even know my needs. Or they gave me this, what? They gave me this, I didn't ask for this. Always about cost. Wow, you guys cost too much. Unbelievable how much. I'm not getting my value. I can't rely on the estimates. You can't make dates. Little do they realize they keep changing the requirements. Shame on us for not having a change request. We should do that, but we try to absorb and deliver. Nothing gets done unless I yell and scream. That's how I get the top priority. No sense of accountability. And again, a lot of organizations are challenged that they don't see IT as the value add. Now, of course, I go to my team and I put this left slide up. Okay, I say, hey, you want to hear what the business says about us? I put it up. Then you know what they tell me? The right side. Well, they don't understand, you know. They're not giving us the requirements. They expect us to read their mind. The business wants a Cadillac, but they only want to pay for a Hyundai. You can tell I'm a car guy, sorry. The business just doesn't understand what it takes. And they don't understand. You know, we don't have the bandwidth or resources. Do you know how I respond to my team on the right? Shame on us. We know what the problems are. We've said what they are. They don't give us the requirements. Well, where's our process in place to say that we will not develop without a business case and requirements documented and them signing off on it? They want a Cadillac, but only pay for Hyundai. Well, what is it that they want? If we're not clear on what they want, you're not delivering what they want, they're going to tell you that. They don't understand the process of IT. We have to explain to them what the process is. We need their buy-in. It's demand management. If you ask the business, they have a list of 300 items they want for us. You can probably only do the top 40 in a 12-month cycle. Are we prioritizing those? Do they really see what the business value is of it? The other thing, too, is which they never do. They always tell you that, Jason, if you give me that IT tool, I can reduce my head count by 10%. We give them the tool. Nobody ever goes back and says, did they ever reduce their head count by 10%? Then they said, well, you didn't really deliver what I wanted. Well, you never really reduced your head count like you told me you would. It can't be us against them. But if you notice, I said perception versus excuses. That's the perception of the business. That's reality. They're the ones in their mind, which I disagree with this comment, so please. They're the ones who generate the revenue. They believe they're paying for us. That's their perception. So it's on us to make sure that we have the right clarity in order to tell them what we're delivering. Clearly, we don't have the resources of bandwidth to support all their requirements. 100% correct. what we need to do is show them a model of how we can expand and flex. We can say, here are the people on staff. I have 200 IT resources. Here what they do. If you want me to deliver more, I need 300. And here's the cost. Do you sign up for that cost? If they say yes, well then, you know what? We better deliver. Because if you don't deliver and they give you those other 300, we're in trouble. So clearly, there's a perception and excuses, and I sum up this slide. Perception's reality. We can't make excuses. We have to make sure we're actually addressing what their reality is. So always, this is the hottest topic that I'm a CIO whenever I go to round tables. Are you aligned with your business? Everything you're doing, is it for the business? Do they see that value add? Now there are infrastructure and operational things that I don't even tell my organization I'm doing when I'm upgrading any of the Microsoft suites or we're doing upgrades to some of our ERP packages. We do that. That's just called operational maintenance. But what are those real business drivers that we're aligned with them? Do they see the value? If you ask CFOs, this came out of the CFO's report, if you had the 40, that's 52%, more than half of the organizations are saying, nope, IT's not giving me any value. Not at all. Unbelievable. And I'm sure you're all in the IT profession. You should be, I'm insulted by this. I can't believe it. I know how hard we work. I know what I've delivered. I'm sure you know what you've delivered. And these, well, first of all, it's CFOs, no disrespect, it's not CFO. Got that. I got to stop jabbing CFOs. But in reality, they say we're not delivering. So, little bit of problem of what we believe we're delivering to the business and what the business thinks and sees. And if you have to remember, who gives you the money? The CFO. So if CFOs don't see the value, you're not getting any money. So hence, if you remember my background, I learned this early on. Remember I told you I have a financial background degree? I talk their language. You have to speak their language. So again, that's getting a skill set to know that they can help you and they can hurt you. If you speak them language, and always hit a budget. So here, let me give one advice on this. If you have a budget, make sure you hit the budget. You go over budget, I can't help you. Can't help you. So make sure you have the right process to make sure you can hit a budget. What this is clearly saying, we're not delivering. And the most second powerful man or woman in a company is a CFO. And in some companies, they're the most powerful individual in a company. This actually came out of Gartner. And you can see in 2010, these are the business expectations for IT. So take a look at the top three. Improve business margins focused on growth. How many people here in this room would volunteer to go, whether in your company or the top CEOs, to talk about improving their margin or their bottom line profit and how they can grow? Most IT people would probably not volunteer for that. But that's what the CEOs are asking IT. They realize technology is an advantage for them. They see that I need your help. And if you can't come to the table and help me, I'm going to get new IT people who can. You need to speak and understand this organization. Part of it, and here it goes back to that financial example I gave. How many people here fully understand how an organization's shares are valued on the stock market?